I'm doing the Jolly Heretic opening from now on, and as you know, if you've been looking at the live chat, I'm joining you from my phone because I created the stream on the phone earlier, and apparently that makes it invisible to trying to stream from the computer. So I hope this all works. I've tried streaming from my phone before, but before I get into anything, I have 42 Smarties to eat. I'm not actually eating Skittles. I'm assuming myself. I'm not actually eating Skittles. I'm getting a lot of echoes. Is that it? Alright, that should do it. We've got amateur hour here. At least I wasn't late. Alright. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, the reason I'm eating Smarties and not Skittles is because I actually would rather not support the Skittles marketing exploits that have that are piggybacking on the Pride Month. So I've counted them out so that I don't lose count as I'm eating. I've got 100, so I hope it gets me through the stream. And I guess let's get started on these. And then as soon as people, oh, it's gone down to 33. That's odd. A lot of people just left as soon as it started. All right. Well, anyway, 33. It's easier for me, isn't it? Good. I thought these would be easier to eat than Skittles as well. You can kind of just chew them and swallow instead of becoming a whole thing. And you can hear the birds, can you? It's gone to 51. Okay. I'm in trouble. This is the first 20. I put them in tubs of 20. 63? This is too much. I was hoping people would sort of trickle in. This is a torrent. I'm gonna run out very quickly. 69, nice. I'm reading the chat while I'm chewing. I hope this makes for better viewing than just watching me eat. Tell me how you're doing. I'll read it. Yeah, I understand that Nestle are not. If you want to buy multicolored chocolate or candy, whatever, there really aren't many places you can buy from apart from independent, sweet shops, I guess, people making it independently. Yes, the window is held up. Thank you. $75? It's insane. I've got some cup of tea here. You can't see it. Never mind. Oh, I dribbled it on myself. A Skittle is not an M&M. A Skittle is like chewy sugar. And a Smartie is like an M&M, but sort of a little bit bigger and flatter and a bit more colourful. I'll show you this one. This is my second batch of. You still can't see it. They look like Skittles, but for all intents and purposes. Yeah. I believe Americans don't have Smarties, or they do have Smarties, but they're different from English Smarties. Right, this is 40. It's getting less enjoyable now. The first 20 I quite enjoyed. that second 20 is still good, but the sugar is kind of burning my throat. It seems to have leveled off now, at least, so I'm not gonna have. I hope I won't get over my 100 limit. Yeah, I just ate 40 Skittles, Smarties, sorry. I'm about to get onto my third box, which would be 60. And I have to get to almost 80. Yeah, 80, 81 now. I'm way behind. I don't know, I haven't eaten this much sugar in this pace. Possibly I did when I was a child, but definitely not in the past 15 years. And I don't know what the effects of eating this much sugar are on person, but I'm feeling warm. I'm starting to like heat up internally. This is like Cool Hand Luke eating the eggs. Exactly. 85 went out and that. I'm way behind. This is the rest of my 60. I can't taste the rainbow. I can just taste chocolate. Hello, Mr. Zolo. Look, the purpose of this was I just thought it would be funny and it would be good for getting viewers to stick around. I didn't think there would be this many this quickly. Right, that is 60 Skittles. Look, I thought I was being rather clever. You probably can't see it now, but I've got an egg carton here, and each of the egg containers has 6 Smarties in it, because I thought I would definitely lose count. 90? I barely even have 90. It's gone down to 88, thank goodness. I think there's something glitchy going on. Are people opening this like in multiple tabs just to mess with me? Oh, actually, I'm one of the viewers. I don't know if that counts. I'm watching my own stream along with all of you. Yeah, right, because smart guys. Close your tabs. This isn't fair. 1 tab per person. That's what, that's what you're due. Okay, so what's this math? So I've got 6 of these in each compartment. We've got 90 people waiting. And I just eaten 60, which means I can't do this, guys. I can't. Look, there's 96 watching now, and that's exactly how many I have, actually. I'm not going to eat these now. I'm going to eat these throughout the rest of the stream. I'm sorry the gimmick fell through so quickly. I didn't think I'd have 96 people watching. And to be honest, when I bought the tubes of Smarties, I didn't know how many there were, and I thought there'd be like almost 200, which I thought was like would well cover me. Okay. Since we've got over the number of people, since I've already failed at getting enough Smarties to do this, I'm not going to push myself to eat it now. Look, I'm going to eat them, okay? I'm just going to eat them over the course of the next hour. I'm not going to eat them in the next, minute. It's been, 10 minutes, and I'm just eating 60. I'm going to take a break, and I'm not going to let you shame me for this. Maybe I should change the name of the stream so that I'm no longer lying about it, at least. But I want to get into talking about Pride, which is why we're all here. If you're wondering what the connection is, obviously it's Pride Month in the UK. I don't know if it's Pride Month in America or anywhere else significant. Australia, Europe, I really don't know. But yeah, in the United Kingdom, it's Pride Month. It's June. Everything's turning rainbow. The rainbow is the symbol of pride, and I guess the rainbow it represents diversity and because I suppose there's a stereotype of homosexual men enjoying being flamboyant and colourful. I'm not saying that they are. I'm saying that's the stereotype. That's how they ended up getting associated with the rainbow. Sorry, I've still got this sort of very sugary taste I'm trying to wash away. I've got 100 viewers. Okay. The trouble is now, I came up with what I think are five distinct reasons why I think Pride has peaked. I think people are going to, starting this year, Pride is going to become less of an event than it is currently. And stop posting the number in the chat. I'll eat them, okay? I think people are. It's been ramping up in scale, can we say, for the past few years. We're getting more visibility for Pride, more corporations jumping on the bandwagon about it. But I think 2021. Look, my husband always says that predicting the future is inviting foolishness. It's an invitation to look foolish, and I appreciate that. But I think it is still sometimes. I don't really mind looking foolish, and it says the live feed is frozen. I wonder why that is. Okay, never mind. I'll keep going anyway. I'm predicting that maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year. At some point, Pride is going to have to go. You know, all things come to an end, and I think that this year is the start of the decline. I had 5 reasons, which I wrote down on a piece of paper, and then I put that piece of paper in the bedroom where the baby is now sleeping, so I don't have access to it. And when I came to try to recall what I wrote down, I could only come up with 4. So here are my 4 reasons why I think Pride. I think people are getting sick of Pride. They will slowly become sick of it. Or why, well, the first reason is obviously COVID-19, which isn't so much people getting sick of Pride so much as it's just become inconvenient to have these mass gatherings. You know, to have a march is now become impractical and unfashionable. When now you to have a march, you need to either have a lot of what's the word? You need to have a lot of protection from the media to avoid being criticized for putting people at risk. You need to have a really good reason why you're justifying putting this number of people at risk, or you'll just be called reckless for making a gathering of so many people, spreading the virus, etc. So that's an easy one. I actually don't know what happened last year. If you know, please tell me in the chat. I don't know if they had a march, but it I think it was in the summer was a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests. So I don't know if they were combined or they both happened, or Pride was just, the Pride March was completely taken over. I don't know what year it was. Maybe it was 2014. I don't want to say I was at London Pride. I didn't march in the Pride parade, but I was standing on the top of John Lewis on Oxford Street with my husband, then not quite my husband yet. We watched from above, and yeah, it was quite a colourful, joyful celebration. And thinking back to that time, the conversation about LGBT pride, it was about homosexuality. It was about the L, the G, and the B, as they say. And I was aware of transgender people. I knew transgender people at that time, but it wasn't just it seems like that has now dominated the conversation, which brings me on to my next reason, which is that the LGBT, I think just the acronym LGBT cannot stand much longer. just because the alliance doesn't really exist. There's a lot of, as Douglas Murray explains quite well in his Madness of Crowds book, the coalition between homosexuals and bisexuals and transgenders, it's completely, there's a lot of crossover in those communities. There's a Venn diagram there, but the actual, what do you call it, the advocacy, it doesn't always line up, and the talking points aren't always in tandem. And I think that there's, and certainly the amount of tension since the marriage equality acts have been passed, which was around that time where I was at Gay Pride, I think. In England, in Ireland, in America, it's now legal for people of any sex to marry anyone else with any sex. So there's a little bit of an empty space there, again, kind of described in the Madness of Crowds, where there seems to be an infinite number of breaches of points that you can fight to do with transgenderism. Unlike marriage equality and homosexuality, where it's like we want to I'm speaking as if from the perspective of the homosexuals, they just want to live their lives the same way that heterosexuals do. They want to get married, fall in love. They want to, that not to be illegal or to be stigmatized. And that's where the word pride comes from, is that they don't want to be ashamed of their lifestyle. And but the transgender advocacy is just a little bit different, because there's always new legal hurdles that they can try to bring down. And at the moment, there's a lot of conversation about bathroom access, which prisons people are going to go to, and the age of when gender reassignment surgeries and hormone replacement treatments can begin. And it just seems like there can always be more. The LGBT advocacy, they can just keep going now. They have a new way to remain relevant always, even if we pass these laws. There's always something new they can pass. There's always more, and even there's more genders, right? I don't want to be glib, but the number of currently, I think in the law only transgender, as in trans women and trans men, are protected. Those are protected statuses, as in you can't discriminate against people because of these qualities, because of these lifestyles. And currently, being gender non-binary or being gender non-conforming, having any other gender other than male, female, trans woman, trans man, those are not protected. So you can just keep adding to that list if for this case. But I think, to come back to my point, I don't know if the normies, the gay community, for one thing, but then also just the straight advocates, I don't know how much they can remain interested in this issue. It'll be interesting to see. At the moment, the discourse around transgenderism is rampant, and people are very interested in it. Not always for not just in favor of the rights, but also people critical of the movement. And I guess we'll just see. But I think a lot of people, like the people who aren't quite as online as I am, and perhaps some of the people watching the stream, are people who aren't on Twitter, who aren't on Tumblr, who aren't on, maybe they're on Instagram. I don't have Instagram, so I don't know what it is, but I don't know what's going on there. But I think for most people, your mum on Facebook a lot of this gender stuff just won't make any sense at all. You know, she'll understand gay people, she'll understand homosexuality, gay marriage. That's something that, you know, she can relate to. She's heard of it, but I don't even know how much, let alone how much they care about it. Just how much people even know about this, or maybe it doesn't matter, and the you know, Joe blogs on the street is irrelevant now, and what he thinks about things doesn't have any impact. But anyway, we'll see. I think if Pride does survive, I think we're going to see a lot of it shifting to only transgenderism. And the thing about maybe this is its own point, or maybe it's part of the same thing, but what I thought was the most interesting part of I don't know why I keep talking about madness of crowds. That really wasn't my plan, but what I thought was the most interesting part of that book that I hadn't heard before was this idea that you know, just think about pride. Don't think about marriage equality or gay marriage, or just think about what it has become now. Think about the kind of people who are being held up as being stunning and brave and role models, and what is shown to be like an acceptable behavior. And I think they're not the easiest to accept. To put it perhaps too strongly, the people who are being shoved in our faces are not the people who we can accept. The moderates, the modest, you know, the pillars of the community, kind of you know, gentle people, you know, with admirable, you know, virtues. They often pick the very hardest people to accept. You know, to put it absolutely too bluntly, they pick freaks, the people who you can't accept, because the point isn't really tolerance. The point is to you know, it's a test almost to see if you'll balk at it, because they want to identify people who are not conforming to the current philosophy, you know, to the current ideas. They want to be able to identify who are the bigots. And so the way that you identify a bigot is to go, okay, what do you think about this? Huh? Oh, this. What about this? And if they go like, I don't like that, then you're a bigot, and they can rejoice at that, and you know, they can have that little witch burning. And look, I'm not saying that the transgender people are freaks. That I know it can very much sound like I'm saying that. I'm saying some transgender people are freaks. Some people are freaks, okay? Some straight people are freaks. And you know, if you watch my channel, you know that I try not to be a judgmental person, and I'm not, you know, I would never go as far as to naming any names, but I think there's a limit to what people accept, and there's a boiling the frog kind of situation where if you push it slow enough, people will pretty much accept anything, but they're not pushing it slow enough. They're pushing it way too fast, I think. So anyway, that's my expectation. Sorry, I'll just read the chat. We may be forced to accept them or given a choice between open extremists and closeted extremists. I don't quite know what that means, but thank you anyway. I guess I should get back to my... I've got a lot more Skittles to eat. All of these anyway. There's 36 in here. This is the biggest batch I've had yet. And the Right Honourable Fez keeps posting the number. Look, I can see the number of people watching. Everyone watching can see it. It's just a little number at the bottom. I'm here for 24 minutes. What's my next reason? Can you guess? Right. I should take 12 more. My number at the moment is actually the number of Smarties I've eaten is closer to the number of likes than it is to the number of people watching. I'm such a failure. But if I had to eat 117 Skittles, I don't think I could do it in real time. Yeah. So I have my reasons written on my phone, and now I'm using my phone to stream, so I have to remember them. But I did just write them down 4 minutes ago, and there aren't that many, so I should be able to remember. And my next reason was, oh yeah, so this year it seems that the sexualization angle has come to a head. There's been some discourse about kink, about fetish gear being worn at Pride events. So I don't know if you've seen the images. It's been going on for a long time. I'm not saying every Pride parade, but there's been pictures going back for, what would you say, a decade? What's that, a zombie blog you read?
Oh yeah, Zombie Time.
Zombie Time.
That was already in
that was a San Francisco Pride event, but I understand that it's spreading. I like I said, I don't go to these events, so even if I saw 20 pictures, I wouldn't know if that was representative of the events or not. All I know is that some people are upset because they want to bring their children to Pride. They, either just to to celebrate together, or because they have a maybe they have a trans child or a gay child. I know that sounds like weird to say, but it sometimes happens. But either way, some people want to bring their children to Pride. Maybe they just can't get a babysitter, and there are, a significant, perhaps, I don't know. Sometimes it occurs that there are people in fetish gear and who are sort of exhibiting their kinks. And sometimes I've seen some pictures of people who are actually sort of in the process of performing a sex act, or not a classic sex act, but a particularly kinky one. And it's weird, right? Because most people understand that, just for one thing, this kind of attire, this kind of act, these kind of behaviors, they shouldn't even be in public in the first place. They should be, shared between people behind closed doors. But the name of the event is Pride, and so it's almost, you're almost inviting anything, because whatever you are, whatever your sexuality is, and not just gay, whatever, it's not just who you're attracted to anymore. It's people are proud of the way that they are, the things that they are attracted to, their kinks, their particular sexual behaviors. They're proud of all of it. It's like there seems to be a number of people who are they're on board with, it's all Pride. All of this is Pride. I'm proud of all of it, and so I'm going to show it off in public. And that's one thing, but then to have children present, it's odd, because children are so innocent. For one thing, up to a certain age, children aren't even aware of what sex is, even if you showed them even if they saw, a normal sex act with, right in front of them, they'd probably be very confused about what they were looking at up to a certain point. But then when I'm getting more messages to eat Skittles, but then when you introduce fetish behavior into this sort of thing, the children aren't even aware that what they're seeing has anything to do with sex, even if they know what sex is. And so the image that was going around Twitter was a child, a little girl with a rainbow flag, who's I don't remember exactly what she's doing, I want to say she's like stroking the head of a man dressed as a dog, which is just, or she's just standing there and smiling, looking kind of uncomfortable. But the thing is that a child wouldn't necessarily think that a man dressed as a dog or dressed in leather, they wouldn't, even if they know what sex is, they wouldn't relate that to sex because it's really odd. And okay, more people want me to eat the Smarties. I've run out of tea now. Oh, that's another 6. Are you happy? Alright. I mean, I don't think I even have to explain this. But a number of people think that this is fine and that there's nothing wrong with exposing children to sexuality, like sexual behavior, fetish, kinks, whatever. If you don't understand why that's wrong, I don't think I'll be able to convince you that it is. So I think I'll just have to leave it there. But if this stuff keeps getting publicized, I think it's going to be a disaster for Pride. I think the mainstream support of Pride events, if people keep, I don't even know how representative it is, like I said, but even if it's only happening at a few different Pride events and only a few people are doing stuff like this, it doesn't matter to the media or to social media. If it's viral, then even the normies are going to think this is weird. I think that was my 4th reason, my 3rd reason, and I'll eat some more Skittles. All right. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, they're not Skittles. I don't support Skittles. I'm certainly not going to buy their Pride Skittles. These are Smarties, and I think they're much better, actually. Depends what mood you're in, really. Smarties are chocolate in England, in Britain. That's true. Sour Skittles. I like a lot of sour candies. I like Sour Patch Kids, sour Skittles. Yeah, I can't think of any. Sour Haribo even. Oh, I like the sour. Oh, you know what I really like is the candy kitties. You guys ever seen those? They started selling luxury candies for I just kind of, the color temperature of my screen just changed after it. Anyway, I love sweets, guys. I don't know if you're a really dedicated viewer of this channel, you might know this already about me, but I love eating chocolate. I love eating sweets. I try to limit myself as much as possible. I love eating biscuits. All good. I don't put sugar in my tea or my coffee. Mostly because I like that sort of bitter offset or like a mild flavor to like wash down this tasty burger. There's nothing left. I just had like a tiny dribble just to get the sugar past my throat. We've got 12 left, and I've got 1 reason left to tell you. My final reason, which is probably where I should have started. Why is it a Pride Month? This is what I want to know. Think about something like Christmas, where the entire calendar is kind of dominated by Christmas for like a month, or maybe like up to 2 months, maybe, where it's a really huge deal. Christmas is the biggest holiday of the year. Excuse me. It's it's something that we all engage in my country. But my point is, putting Pride like on a like it's a month. I know Christmas is usually a bit more than a month, but like there's no way that Pride should be on like on a similar level. Like Pride, I believe Pride started as a march. So on one day, people, different cities around the world, or maybe just in the UK. I still don't know if it's an international day, but um, it was a march, and then when that march got put on a certain day, and then that became Pride Day. And as far as I know, it went directly from being a day to being a month, which is huge. Like, think of what else is a month. In America, there's Black History Month. It's the only thing I can think of. It's like, Ramadan, I don't think is even a month. Is it a month? Lent is a month. The birth of Jesus, that's worth a month. No matter how enthusiastic you are about LGBT rights and pride, I think a month is just too much. Like I think they've been very ambitious, and that a month is was 1/12 of the year. That's almost it's almost like 10% of the year. But I think it's just exhausting because you can't be excited about something for that long. You can't actually keep that. It's just exhausting in a sense, and I don't mean like literally exhausting. I just mean that your attention naturally is going to wander. Like, think of all the other things that could happen in that month. If there's a huge news story, it's going to be overshadowed. But if they left it on one day, then it would be the biggest news story of that day, unless the Queen died, right? The fact that it's on a month means that I guess the parade is going to be like a big news story for that day, but probably not that much. I mean, I don't even know if the parade is all on one day anymore, if they have like many parades now. The chat is just about the Skittles. Am I on mute or something? Nobody's engaging with the. Anyway, those are my reasons. So I guess I can get the Skittles. I do have more to say, but this stream is limited by the life of my phone, the battery life. I mean, it's not plugged in, and it was at half battery when I started the stream. So I can't even see the battery bar because the stream is full screen for me. No, it's not an empty egg box. It's got Skittles. It's got Smarties in it. You guys really enjoy this, or are you just torturing me? I dropped one. I knew that would happen. I can't believe I went to the trouble of counting all these out because I thought that I don't want to eat too many. Like, no, I thought I'd be like eating one every 30 seconds or something. I didn't want to lose count, but now I just have to eat all of them. I'm going to like the angle. So, coming at this from, I just want to give you some context. I don't know what age everyone else is. I really need to get some water because that's an insane amount of sugar. They're all gone, by the way. That's all the Smarties. My tubs, all of it. It's all gone. I'm gonna get some water and then we're gonna come back. Okay, I'm here. I'm drinking water, which is that's very peculiar for me. I only drink water if I'm very thirsty. So, well, I'll keep you updated on the effect that eating 96 Skittles is having on me. I feel okay. I mean, I don't want to say I'd enjoy it, but I would probably still eat another 30 Skittles if I had to. If I had them here, I would eat them for you. I have raisins. That's the only. The raisins are embedded in the granola. So I was. If I had to, I mean, I'm not going to do it. It crossed my mind that I could pick the raisins out of the granola and sort of say that that's something like Smarties, but they're not rainbow. They're not even remotely like Skittles. And they don't take ages to take ages to chew. Sorry, I've got just reading the live chat. The thing is, what I said about drinking water when I'm thirsty, I drink tea for many reasons. One of the I wouldn't really drink tea if I was thirsty. I'm sure that it would stop me being thirsty, but I drink tea if I want to like hold something warm sometimes. Often I'll drink tea as a way to wash down whatever I'm eating, especially if it's a biscuit. So people have a biscuit with their tea, but for me it's more like the other way around. Like I'll want to eat a biscuit and then I'll want a cup of tea to wash it down. Like I said, it's like that bitter, mild taste to, it really offsets the sugar in a really nice way. I recommend it. Okay. So, like I said, as I was ramping up to say, the thing is that I was raised in a time where the gay marriage thing seemed like a no-brainer even before it happened. When there really was, as far as I was concerned, I was raised Christian as well. There was really nothing wrong with being homosexual or any lifestyle choice that had no impact on other people. Thank you very much, Dale Addink, for paying for the Skittles. Thank you very much. Like I said, they're Smarties, not Skittles. Read the description. But thank you. That more than covers it. So from childhood, I've been under the impression that your own sex life, your own lifestyle, how who you want to marry, who you want to be with, that is completely your own business, and it doesn't hurt anyone else. It shouldn't be stigmatized. It certainly shouldn't be illegal, and there shouldn't be any difference between how a homosexual relationship is viewed compared to a straight relationship. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from with this, because I'm taking all of that as kind of presupposed, so that when I say this, I hope you'll understand where I'm coming from, where I say perhaps not all lifestyles should be celebrated to a similar degree. And at the moment, it seems like the lifestyles that were celebrated by previous generations are actually, if not being specifically, sort of maligned, they are kind of being ignored. And I think it's possible that the people who are, writing TV shows, making adverts, all that sort of thing, they just assume that everyone already knows that the nuclear family is that's fine. Nobody's got a problem with that. People getting married, having children in a heterosexual relationship, like nobody could possibly have a problem with that. And so there's no need to show representation, to celebrate that, to write stories about that. And I'm probably overstating this point, but what I mean is that there's a certain kind of relationship that produces children, and that there's a certain kind of household, there's a certain kind of family that seems to produce the best children, to use one word, to be the most healthy environment for children. It seems to be a mother and a father who live together, who are married, and the I'm not going to get into when they should get married or whatever, but obviously the sooner a couple gets married, the more children they can have. People seem to be, I mean, this is getting into a whole other subject, but there's a lot of skepticism about the idea of having children at all, let alone sort of more than one. Is like a lot of the environmental movement seems to, if not explicitly say it, which they sometimes do, to strongly suggest that having children might be very bad for the planet and therefore immoral, because the however many flights you take in your life, you've if you have a child, that child is, all of their emissions can effectively be your emissions, because you brought that about in the first case. And people adopt children, and I think that's very noble if you can do it, and if you can do it well. I think adopting is a wonderful choice for heterosexual or homosexual couples. Obviously, they need to be vetted, and there are awful things that sometimes happen to adopted children, to fostered children. But I just like to offer a counterpoint to what is already a very heavily pushed idea, which is that, or this idea of pride, this idea that if you're in a lesbian relationship, if you're heterosexual but you like to if you're hooking up with strangers, or you never want to get married, you never want to have children, whatever, all those things. Obviously, I'm not saying they should be illegal, but I do wonder about this idea that you should be proud of that, or that these things should all be celebrated equally. Without going too far into it, maybe I'll just leave it there. I was raised to believe that all lifestyles, as long as you're not hurting anyone, they're all equal. But I think that's just not. I don't think that's necessarily the case. If you want to look at society, the future of the country, the future of your family, your community, I think it's important to look at what are the behaviors that are going to be good in the long run. I mean, it's crazy how environmentalists they use this word sustainability for everything, and it's a good word. You've got to think about how the choices you make about your consumption, about your travel, what are the long-term consequences of all these things. But when you look at your behavior, because you're not directly hurting anyone else, it's assumed at the moment to be above criticism, and certainly don't make it into a stigma. That would be awful. We don't want people being bullied for their lifestyles, for the people they love, for things that they cannot control about themselves. And I got into this talking a little bit talking about the wrench wench trope. That was a little bit of a fun stream I did, I think 2 weeks ago. Excuse me, I have been eating a lot. And I think of human behavior as being randomly distributed in this bell curve, the normal distribution. So we design these, what we think of as normal and what we think of as stigmatized, what is celebrated and what is maligned. Well, what we traditionally did was to look at this behavior in the sort of the middle of the bell curve, like what most people are like. Well, we'll design rules around most people. We want the rules to fit the best number of people, and we'll use this sort of social pressure of celebrating some things and stigmatizing others to push people into the best form that their lives could take, that we have found most people can conform to if encouraged a little bit. So you get the, like 90% of the people in this bell curve, they also get shoved together. They're all encouraged to be more normal, to push themselves close to the average as possible. I'm not saying this is literally what happens. So this is how I visualize it. And then you get these people right at the tail ends where there's like, think of, an extremely effeminate man, an extremely masculine woman, maybe they're gay, whatever. They have these, they're born in a certain way that makes it pretty much impossible for them to conform to the standards that their society, that their family, that their community has put on them, and they just cannot. No matter how much you push them, they won't conform. And pushing them is, basically tantamount to bullying, because you keep asking them to change themselves in a way that they just can't. And and this is pride. This is why we celebrate these people. We go, look, it's okay that you're different. Look, it doesn't matter. We're happy for you. You do your own thing, because it's it's fine, and we know that you were born that way and you can't change. But then what happens is that there's no longer any of this conformity, the standards. There's these rules for how most people should behave that were working quite well for most people, that helped most people to live their best lives that they could. We can't just let some people slide. Like, standards are slipping for everyone. Am I making sense? So being straight, being heterosexual, wanting to get married, wanting to have a family, it's not celebrated, because to celebrate something is to stigmatize everything else in a certain kind of philosophy that's being that's often being promoted. And I've got 141. This is like the double the number that I was prepared for in terms of buying Smarties. This is insane. I was in the middle of a thought. I think you get it. I talked about it before on the stream, but this idea everyone should pride. What's the weirdest thing about pride? You can't be proud of being straight. And that sounds so, I know that's a very tired point, saying that it's hypocritical, saying like, oh, can you believe if it was the other way around? Like, there's no way, people literally have tried to do like a straight pride event, just to troll just to own the libs, just to troll people, just to make them mad, just to see if they would allow it. I'm not suggesting that. We don't need straight pride. We don't need we don't need the super straight. I enjoy a little bit of owning the libs as much as anyone. I enjoy a Twitter troll campaign. It's not very useful, but what I mean is that, what do I mean? I've lost it. We're stuck in this place where you can only be proud of being an outsider. To be proud of being straight is complete nonsense, some dark, in terms of current social justice ideas. The one thing that, in my opinion, it's the most useful, in terms of keeping the society healthy, creating, happy, healthy environments for children, being in a straight relationship that is, we have very well-defined ideas of what a straight relationship should be, because it's the main kind of relationship that there is. The guidelines are all there. Like what we understand as a good straight relationship, it's all recognizable, because we have this very, very long history of this kind of relationship. A married couple, a man and a wife, husband and wife, they're married with children, living together. We understand what that looks like, and we are probably raised by parents who did something like that. We have all of this accumulated knowledge, and it works. It seems to work on average better than the other environments that you can raise children in, and yet that is the one sexuality, the one structure that you cannot be proud of, because it's just assumed, because it is the oldest and the most well established. You can't be proud of it because it's just, you're being proud of, nothing. It's the Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. You're stating, it's just assumed that you're stating the obvious. If you're proud of being straight, if you're proud of being a committed spouse, if you're proud of having a long-lived marriage and to have, well-adapted children. Yeah, I guess that's what I want to say. I really don't know how much of my battery is left. And I'm really sorry about the Smarties. You don't know how bad I feel about the fact that I can't fulfill on the title of this video. I'm going to put the word failed in the title so that people who come back and watch this later don't come in expecting me to have eaten like thousands of Skittles. So yeah, and it wasn't even Skittles, it was Smarties. So I failed even from the first Smartie. So it looks like we peaked at 149 according to Right Honourable Fez. I think I only saw 145. Who knows? I don't know how much it ticks over, but I haven't got anything to eat. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. People who are just tuning in haven't look, it's all empty. It's gone. There's none left. I didn't buy enough. I'm sorry. I should have bought more. Maybe next year. I'll do it again next year. And we'll review this stream. We'll look at the predictions and try to see if I was right about any of my points. All right. I hope you're all having a wonderful, spectacular weekend, or that it's at least bearable. And I'm sorry about the Smarties, but I hope you had a good time watching me eat those, having a little mukbang together, as the Koreans say. That's a video where you eat food, if you don't know, if you're not down with the kids. I'm very into YouTube culture, so even communities that I'm not really aware of, that I don't watch, I try to keep on top of the, what's going on. Bit of ASMR for you guys. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for leaving your chats. I think I saw a super chat that I didn't read. Here we go, from EC90. That's a name I've heard. You must have been super chatting for Fake Accents Unite, or for Unpopular Opinions. I know I've got to be losing it. I've got a sugar hangover. I can't even remember the name of the show that I'm frequently on. Sorry, EC90 for £2 says, we used to say pride is the mother of all sin. Well, it's one of the sins, isn't it? One of the bad ones. The deadly sins. I actually don't know which part of the Bible says that. I think it was one of those sort of post hoc things that was made up by John Milton. Probably lots of people are going to be mad at me for getting that wrong. Did I just get another super chat? All right. Thank you to the Henrieb. I don't know what kind of language that is. For £5, I'm guessing it's English. What are your thoughts on AA's streams of the creepy male feminist last night, or would it be better to answer in a video? I'm definitely not going to make a video about that. I was in the live chat for that video for, I want to say, like 2.5 hours. I was shocked. I left at 2.5 hours thinking the whole thing was wrapping up, and I came back the next day and it was 4 hours, that stream. So there was a lot that went on after I left. I'm not going to go back and watch it. I think it was a fine stream, and I think the reaction from the audience was a little bit extreme. But yeah, to call that guy creepy, I think it's a bit mean. Creepy male feminist is probably putting it too harshly. I actually sent him. I felt so bad about how mean all of the comments were and all of the chat. So I sent him a message. Because we talked a little bit beforehand about the whole thing, and the thing about the creepy male feminist thing is that the example I said to him was that the what it's like fashion crazes. So at a certain point in history, and by history I mean in the last few decades, it's my understanding from watching 21 Jump Street and from talking to my husband that it was extremely unfashionable to wear your rucksack on both shoulders. Um, to do such a thing was what I'd call a hallmark of a nerd. It's the kind of thing that if you did that, you were basically a nerd. You were telling people loud and clear, "I'm a nerd. I don't know what the rules are about how to wear rucksacks," and so because the only people who did that were socially inept, it just strengthens the signal, right? The fact that you are not that you're not aware of the rule means you're definitely socially inept, and I think that's kind of what happens to anyone who advocates for treatment of women, for better treatment of women in any context. They just become a male feminist. They just look like a male feminist. It's the equivalent of wearing the rucksack, double strapping, because we've just trained ourselves to notice this kind of male feminist behavior, and then any time a man is sticking up for a woman, there's that kind of it's triggering the signal, going like, I think this guy's a male feminist. I think this guy's being incredibly creepy. That's I don't like to speak badly of people, and especially not specific people. I don't like gossip or any of that. So yeah, I think he was coming from a genuine place. I don't think he's a male feminist. I think he's sincerely interested in keeping the what do you call it, the movement. He wants right-wing movements to succeed in general. So yes, the stream is finished now. I was just answering a super chat. And I guess I'll go now because I think my battery's about to run out. Thank you very much again, always, and I'll see you soon.